So I was talking to somebody the other day, and he brought up something that I've seen quite often with clients, which is basically you are having a serious discussion with your partner, and it's a serious type of discussion, whether it's an argument about separating or changing the dynamics of the relationship. And your partner basically says, I don't want this to be happening anymore because it's ruining you. It's making you feel bad. It's destroying you. Basically, being with me or doing this in a relationship is destroying you. It's hurting you. And this gentleman I was speaking to the other day, I said, she has no right to say that to you. And that's what I tell many clients I work with. They have no right to say that to you. Or they have the right to say it to you, but you have every right to disagree with it. We were recently talking about vulnerability. I speak about vulnerability all the time. So you're in a serious conversation with your partner. There's a lot of vulnerability there, especially the way that I advise people to be open when they're, in these hard conversations with a partner. And if your partner says something like, I don't like what this relationship is doing to you, they're basically putting you in a box by doing that, labeling how you feel. And is that fair? No. Because if we love ourselves, if we love our partner, we do not get to be pushovers. We get to be vulnerable. We get to listen. We get to hear them say that, if they say something like that. But then we also get to say something back to them like, I disagree with you. How do you know how I feel about this happening in our relationship, or about what's going on, or about us being in the relationship? How do you know how it's making me feel? Unless I tell you how it's making me feel. Because I'm doing my best to tell you how I feel about the relationship. And I'm trying to articulate to the best of my ability how the relationship is making me feel. And I'm trying to articulate to you how much I love you. And now you're saying something like, the relationship's no good for me. And I'm telling you, I don't feel that way. And it's very interesting. We get into these arguments with our partner, and all of a sudden our partner thinks they know what's best for us. And of course, often, if we're not calm and collected and being vulnerable, we think we know what's best for our partner. But when push comes to shove and we're actually in these volatile settings, these potentially argumentative settings where there's a lot of emotional volatility, it is not unusual for one or both of the people in the conversation to accuse the other person of feeling a certain way. And that is not fair, because you don't know how the other person feels. So this gentleman the other day, I said, you have to push back against your partner there and tell her, this is not how I feel. I told you how I felt, which is that I love you. I think we have a lot of good things going on. I want to work on this if you want to. Don't tell me that this relationship's destroying me when I'm telling you it's not, and that I feel good about what's going on. And I want to still be in it. But if you don't want me to be in it with you, then I'm okay with that too. But don't tell me that it's destroying me, because that's simply not true. And then listen and see what they say. And like I said, we have to be very careful, because it's in this situation, it was, the partner saying this and he was receiving it. But we often will say things too when we're heated, where we're saying, oh, this is not the best thing for you. This is ruining you. This is wrecking you. This is making you anxious. And a lot of the time we're wrong when we say that stuff. And if our partner says, no, you know what? You are incorrect. This is what's actually going on. This is how I actually feel. We have to listen. We have to listen. So in other words, it's often like a boxing match, figuratively speaking, where we're throwing jabs at each other when we're arguing. And a lot of what's being said is just, it's bullshit. It's because we're scared, we feel vulnerable, and we don't really know how to react with the other person that we love. And we become almost childlike. So we say, well, you know, this is what's wrong with you. This is what's wrong with you. Or like, this is ruining you. We might even gaslight the other person just because we're so uncomfortable having this conversation with somebody we love when we're not sure what the answer is going to be or what exactly is going to happen. And instead, what we're trying to do is become more open, more loving towards ourselves, more vulnerable to the situation, but at the same time, more loving towards ourselves and to our partner, and just taking it all in. So in other words, you know, your partner says, this is bad for you. I'm bad for you. Being in this relationship is making you not making you the fulfilled person I know you should be. It's bringing out toxic qualities in both of us. I'm not the right person for you. We take all that in, and then we, to the best of our ability, and again, this is tough. This is the work. This is what I work with people on. To the best of our abilities, we take that, and we respond from a place of self-compassion and self-love and compassion for the other person and love for the other person. Easier said than done, but that doesn't mean we can't do it. And the more we do it, the more use we get to doing it and being comfortable being uncomfortable. Because I know very few people that feel comfortable when their partner is yelling at them or arguing with them or saying, you have to do this differently, or this is a major problem where I'm leaving, or I don't want to be with you anymore. I don't know many people who are feeling great when they're having that said to them. But if we can feel okay enough and know that we are a good enough person and that our partner is a good enough person, then we can hear that and then respond in a way that's a little more calm and grounded. And that makes a huge difference. And we're not going to be perfect at it probably. We're not going to be close to perfect, but if we get a little bit better, it makes a big difference. And we can get a little bit better, a little bit better, and a little bit better. Over time, communication in the relationship can profoundly change by slowing down and being honest. But the point I want to make here, the point I want to make to the gentleman I was speaking to the other day, is we can't be a doormat. If your partner says, this relationship's bad for you, I see what this is doing to you, this is making you a more anxious, worse person, I'm not good for you. If you don't feel that way, the gentleman the other day did not feel that way, then you have to say how you actually feel from a place of love and compassion for yourself and for the other person. And they still might disagree with you, but at least you say your piece. And if you say your piece, you gain peace.